started recording it, and anybody who wants to talk about any challenges that they might be having, drop it in the chat, and then I can go from there. And as people come in, I'll continue to onboard them into this area. Debbie and Felicia. All right. For those of you that just joined, Debbie, Felicia, and Han, if you can, drop in the chat your biggest challenge right now. We're going to work through that together. Crystal, I see yours. Very cool. We will start with you since you're the first one to put on there. Okay. Okay. Cassandra, I got yours also, fear of financing. All right, Debbie and Felicia, if you have any, Marlene, if you're just going to sit there looking pretty, that's cool too. But if you got anything you want to work on, you're welcome to just drop it in the chat. And Crystal, are you okay to go ahead and unmute and let's start with you? Cool. Okay. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm awesome. I mean, other than it's Labor Day and I forgot when I scheduled the call. I'm all right. I got your challenge here is showing that you have a fear of success.
Yeah, well, success I think in the context of once I get through this process of buying all this property and acquiring all of this, it's like keeping it. Like it's like, do I do it? It seems to be overwhelming. Like now that I'm starting to analyze deals, I'm afraid because I'm like, the next step is I have to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And so it's causing me major anxiety.
Okay. So what specifically is it that causes you the anxiety? You said keeping it and running it?
I think that's the issue is, just a little, background is, from the time I was 9 until I was 21, I was homeless.
Okay.
So, and then I I was in the military, put myself through college, and I'm very successful at my job. I have a great job. But that's my security because my W-2 helps me to keep everything that I have. Yeah. But now I'm going into this uncharted territory of now I'm starting to acquire this stuff. And then when I get to a certain level, it's like, now the pressure is on to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I'm going through this process and I'm analyzing the deals and I'm like, oh my God, now I have to look for financing. I have to do all this other stuff. And that part, it causes me anxiety, but I'm okay with it. It's just that I always think down the road of how do I manage all of this? How do I keep it? And am I going to be under pressure to acquire more stuff because now you have more taxes? It's just overwhelming to me.
Okay. And that's very common because it's unknown, right? Mm-hmm. So can I ask you a question? When you said from 9 to 21, you were homeless and you went into the military, you got yourself an awesome job. Mm-hmm. So I hear there's an element of success there where you've faced a challenge and overcome it. Did you keep that?
Yes. So that's the thing. So I knew that failure was not an option because mm-hmm. I didn't have anything to go back to.
Okay.
So I had to keep going forward.
Yeah.
So now, like I said, I'm at this level of my life and now I have to figure out where to park all this money that I'm making and doing all kinds of stuff. And then it's acquiring more stuff. And that's what's overwhelming, because it's like, now I actually have a company that I set up, a business, and now I've got to figure out, okay, how do I manage this? How do I pay the taxes? How do I do all this other stuff, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me ask you this. When you went through that other period of time where you didn't know and it was ambiguous, it was like, okay, it's the unknown that we all fear.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that what is it that you got resourceful with in order to make all of that happen?
So what I did was, my choice to go in the military was simply, you know, for me, was to get my GI Bill, go to school. That was my way of financing my education.
Okay.
Because I figured, okay, education, I'll have some more financial freedom. I'll be able to take care of myself, just on a minimal level, you know, that's at the minimum.
Yeah.
But, you know, and so I kept going, and like I said, and so I ended up in this wonderful career. I ended up in the military for 16 years. And then it was the fear of the unknown when I got out. But, you know, I was like, okay, well, it's time to go to school. And then I ended up in this wonderful career that I have. And like I said, I think that's what it is. Like, it was the pressure to keep going, because I couldn't go back the other way, because there was nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You ever heard that story of Cortez and his ships? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I'm a major war buff, and I fully believe and love about war strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the stories that always helps me is the story of Cortez and his ship. So he's out and he's in this war, and they have all these ships. He has an entire fleet. Well,
Mm-hmm.
they were at war, and they started like fighting with each other. A lot of the men wanted to go home to be with their wives and children. And so there was a mutiny that came about, and they approached Cortez and they told him, like, we're taking over or whatever, we want to go home. So
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the night while they were sleeping, he went and burnt all the ships. So they didn't have a way out. Is that story sound familiar at all? So when he burnt the ships and they didn't have a way out, they were like, fuck, now I gotta fight, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like when you were homeless from 9 to 21, you were like, fuck, I gotta figure something out and join the military. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you got out of the military and you were like, fuck, I gotta get a job. So you went and you did that. You went to school, got yourself a career, right? So at what point are you going to say, fuck, I'm going to be all right and get through this portfolio? What were the triggers? I want to find the trigger on when it was that you decided, I don't have a way back, right? What's your way back right now?
I guess my comfort zone is my W-2 job.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my comfort.
That's a lot of sense.
And that's my comfort zone. But then I know that, okay, I have goals. You know, in the next 5 years, I want to quit my job. Like, I want to be financially free from W-2 corporate. You know, I want to do this. I'm
going to ask you something, and it's going to seem rude because I'm going to interrupt you. Because it's going to seem rude, but I'm doing a pattern interrupt on you. What makes you think your W-2 is stable?
I know it's not stable.
Well, why do you unconsciously believe it is?
Because I think it's because I make so much money, it's comfortable for me.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it feels safe, right? But is it, or is it not just a facade? Like nothing is permanent, not even what you're doing.
I think it is a facade, because at the end of the day, you know, everything could crash and they could have a mass layoff, and here I go. So I get that. I'm wired like that way. I think that's why I'm moving in this direction, because it's like fear of the unknown with everything that's going on in the markets and things like that. But then I'm like, I've been doing this for 8 years now. So, and it's comfortable.
Yeah. And it's like a part of you feels comfort and says, shit, I don't want to go back to the day where I was homeless and had to join the military or wanted to leave the military and go to work, right? A part of you still has a little bit of trauma from that and is like, no, like, I don't want to feel that uncomfortable again, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. Like, I think going through this process is now I'm I'm uncomfortable again. And it's
Yeah.
that fear, and it scares me. And it's almost like it's that, I feel like that 9-year-old girl sometimes, because I don't
Sure.
know what's ahead of me.
Totally.
I know I'm going to be fine, but I don't know I'm going to be fine. I guess, does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It makes
Okay.
perfect sense, Crystal. You're human. You're
Mhm.
human, and you're experiencing a human emotion, which is, I don't know what to expect. But I will
Mhm.
tell you this. Did you fail any of those other times?
No.
Okay. So what's
Because
the
I set
common
the goal.
thread? Yeah.
So what I did was, I said, okay, I think I set a goal with the intention of, this is what was going to happen. And then all this other stuff happened. It was like, oh my God, all this other stuff happened in my life that was great. And that's how I feel about this. Like, I feel like I know that this is what I need to be doing, but I think it's so many unknowns, and I haven't put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Okay.
And so that's what makes me afraid.
Okay, so this is what I want to do. We're going to do a couple of things. The first one, I'm going to eventually get you to where we're going to do an anxiety model.
Okay.
And it's a skill that you're going to be able to do the next time you're feeling super anxious. I'll walk you through how to do it, but I need to ask you a few more questions if that's okay. The first one is, when you think about your past, if I asked you to point in the direction of your past, which way would you point? Behind you, in front of you, to the left, to the right, above you, below you? Where's your past at?
Behind me.
It's behind you. Okay. Now, if I was to ask you to point to your future, which way is it?
In front of me.
Okay. So that means you're a perceiver. It means you are standing in your timeline of life, right? Like everything that's happened to you, your brain stored all those memories behind you, and everything that you are going to be going through, your brain is looking straight ahead like, shit, here comes the future. Okay. So you're a perceiver. I'm a judger. And not like, in a bad, like, oh my God, I judge everybody way, but I mean, maybe sometimes. I mean, I make shoe contact before I make eye contact. We'll just leave it at that. But I'm a judger. My past is to the left, my future is to the right. So on my timeline, I'm kind of like this. You're a perceiver, your future's ahead of you and the past is behind. That's how your brain has stored memories and things of that nature. So when I'm going to teach you this anxiety model, one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is to sit as if you are closing your eyes, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth 3 times. And we're going to paint a picture of what you really want. Okay. And we're going to paint a picture of what you really want. And then I'm going to ask you to take that picture like you're holding it, like you're holding it with your hands, and close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to, you remember the Rolodex? I know I'm not.
Yes.
I might be aging myself. I'm 4 years from 50. But Rolodex, I know, is pretty, some people know it. But you go and you're going to close your eyes and going to take that picture that we're going to create together right now. And you're going to put it out there, and just at some unspecified time in your future, drop it in and lock it into place. And then I'm going to ask you to float back to now, where we are on this call, and open your eyes. And then we're going to have a little quick conversation. And then I'm going to teach you the anxiety model to see that picture again and go out to the future, past that picture, and turn around and face it and watch yourself complete it and have it and own it masterfully, as if everything went right. Because if you see it in the mind, you'll go there in the body. Does that make sense? So that's what we're going to do. So my very first question is, you said my W-2 is security.
Yes.
Right. And you told me, I know that doesn't sound logical, but you might truly believe that. Do you think you believe that?
In some ways, yes, I do.
Okay. But a part of you also knows that you can build whatever you're going to build, and you can overcome anything. You've overcome a lot, by the way. And there's a lot of strangers here that I don't know and you don't know, but I'm looking you dead in your soul right now. Like, you're a fucking warrior.
Yes.
What you just told me about yourself, I'm like, whoa. And I'm not trying to gloss over it, Crystal. You're a badass. You're a badass. So what you did for those 2 instances where the unknown was happening to you, I have no doubt you're going to do the same thing with this. And it's because you're unsettled right now and you don't know what it looks like. You want to know, what process do I need to put in place? What systems do I need to have? How can I keep my arms around it so I can keep it? Because you're asking the right questions means you're going to nail it. Now, what we need to do is, knowing that those are the things you want to feel kind of warm and fuzzy and have that control, we need to think about what that is for you, right? So I want you to think about, in a visual context, what does it look like for you to be like, damn, I nailed that. I have X number of units, whatever that is, right? Like for me, it's like I have 880 units and I'm making $80,000 a month in passive income. I got a couple of hotels. I got all this stuff. And then I like close my eyes and visualize it and drop it. I got 2,400 duplex it, whatever it is, right? And I am able, my property managers every month, I meet with so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so on this day every month. And when they come to me with reports that say, here's how we performed last month. This is the occupancy rate for this month. This is the units that need to be turned. This is how much money that's going to cost. Start thinking about how people are just bringing you that information and what does that look like, so that, and you're sitting there just like a boss getting the information and making decisions, right? Would that make you feel warm and fuzzy?
Yes.
It would?
Yes.
What else would?
I think, yes, being in control. Like, I think that's why I feel like I'm not in control right now. Yeah. And being in control, and yes, I have to have my numbers. Everything needs to be in front of me.
And that's why you're going to win.
Know. And I guess because my mind is trained militarily, I always plan for contingency.
Yeah.
And so in this, I'm in a situation right now, and I feel like I don't have a contingency plan.
Yeah.
And so that's what's making me nervous. Like, I need to, it has to be laid out. I'm visual, so I need to see it. And I do have the ability to see it before I can see it.
Yeah.
But this is the place where I'm most uncomfortable, because I don't know how I'm going to make it work, so to speak.
That's okay. So are you ready to go along your timeline? Because you know what you want now, right?
Yes.
Now, I want you to tell me, I want you to close your eyes and tell me what you see when you see yourself succeeding. What does that end game look like? What's the final picture that you see?
The final picture that I see is, I would like to have a passive income of, at least $50,000 a month.
Okay.
And, I want to quit my job, and I want to do this full time, and mentor other people and free up my time from my corporate job to be able to, mentor other like single moms into how to do this.
Love it. So let me ask you this. What does that get for you if you do all of those things?
I guess I feel satisfied that, just because you're, I think in my mind, I feel like just because you're, a single parent or just a single person, you don't have to live minimally. You can live your best life. I think that's how I feel about it. Like, you can live your best life and you don't have to be connected to a W-2.
Yeah. Do you see it? Like, what do you see? Can you see that?
Yes. I want
what? Do you see yourself? Do you see yourself in it, or do you see through your own eyes right now?
I see both. I see it through my own eyes, and I see me in it.
Okay. This is what I want you to do. I want you to get super duper fucking associated to seeing it through your own eyes, okay? Because that's what's going to make you really feel like it's happened. It's already here, right? So change the picture so that you're seeing through your own eyes everything. You don't see you. You see all the happy people that you're helping. You see that check coming in. You just pulled up your Wells Fargo or Chase Bank, whatever the hell, wherever you bank. And it says $74,000 and it's September 7th because you had all your rents come in and plus you did a flip or you did something. And now what else? Now what else do you see? You got no job, feeling pretty good.
Yes. And
all through your own eyes?
Yes, on my 10-acre property with my garden in the back.
Hell yes, girl. What else? Is it in color?
Yes.
Is it bright? Is it vivid? Is it like, how far is it from your face?
It's right there. I can see it.
Good. Right on. Are there any noises? You hear any birds?
Yes, there's birds chirping. I have my my barn in the back that I do my crafting and
What color's a barn?
also,
Tell me it's red.
red.
Yes.
It's red.
Okay. This is what I want you to do. You got that picture locked in, right?
Yes.
All right. Got any vacations that you're going on that you want to kind of throw in the corner somewhere? Like you want to see the world?
Yes.
Okay. Put it in there. Now I want you to take that picture, you snap it into place, like we're gonna lock the Tupperware. It's like, you know, with that sound you hear?
Yes.
When you lock it in, okay, it's locked in. You're holding it with your fingers now. I want you to watch yourself take that picture. You see your own fingers, your own thumb and finger pinching it, and just push it out. And now you're above your timeline and you're just looking down in the nothingness and just drop it and let it go. Drop it and let it go. Now come back to now. Cool. All right. Do you smell like Pop-Tarts or anything?
No.
Rusty nails?
No.
No. Grubs. Do you smell grubs? Okay.
Yes, because I like the outdoors.
Okay, I was just breaking your state. This is what I want you to do. So now you've created the future that you want, and you know what you want, and so does your unconscious mind now. So what we're going to do is I want you to think about, you're going to go above your timeline out to that place in time.
Yes.
About 15 minutes after you have successfully achieved those things. Okay. And you're going to turn around 15 minutes after you've successfully achieved those things, and you're going to watch yourself achieving it.
Okay.
That's how you're going to do that. And you know what's going to happen is, as you watch yourself doing those things, your unconscious mind is basically going to show you how you're going to do it.
Okay.
And the fact that you're already thinking of those things means that everything you need is already inside of you, and you just need to go do those actions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you want to try it now, or do you want to try it privately?
We could try it now.
Right on. Okay, cool. I was hoping you'd say that. All right, so I want you to close your eyes again, and I want you to float above your timeline. I want you to imagine your past behind you, and you're floating above your timeline right now. You're looking down on the top of my head, Natasha's head, Marlene's head, Debbie and Felicia are here, Maureen is here, Andy's here. You're looking down at the top of all of our heads. We're all sitting here on Zoom. Now I want you to float out to the future, to that picture, and tell me when you get to the picture.
Okay.
Now I want you to just smile your pretty little ass off and float over that picture about 15 minutes after. And I want you to turn around and look at the picture from behind. It's already happened. You already have it. And now I want you to watch yourself, everything that it took to get to that picture. Are you seeing the things?
Yes.
Seeing everything that you had to do, right? I want you to ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this whole process of you doing all those things to achieve those goals, and feel that feeling of just comfort and security. What lessons do you need to learn? Who do you need to become? What do you need to be doing? And how good do you feel that you know you already did it?
It feels good. Like because I know the work that it takes, and it's gonna take. Yeah. And I know that I can do it.
So the first thing I want you to do now is float back to now. And then I'm going to put you on mute, and I want you to write down everything that you just saw yourself doing, okay? And then later on, towards the end of the call, after I go through a couple more people, I'm going to come back. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and give you some assignments. Okay. All right. Go ahead and open your eyes. All right. Go write down everything you just saw yourself doing, and everything else that comes to mind, because you're like in the zone right now of thinking through those things, okay?
Okay.
You're awesome, Crystal, by the way. Badass. All right, so Cassandra, hi. I'm going to unmute you if you can't. Oh, you did. You unmuted.
Hi.
Hi. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How are you? Where are you coming from?
Seattle.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
We have a warm day. That's why I was eating ice cream, because it is Labor Day, and I went, oh my gosh, it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, you don't ever have to explain to me why you're eating ice cream. It's my vice.
Yes.
That would be great. Yeah. Okay. So you have a fear of financing. You don't feel confident. It's an odd feeling for you, and you need to break through it. And you mentioned that the options seem to be endless, so you shouldn't have issues, but yet you're stuck. What is it that you're most afraid of?
It's interesting, because I was relating to Crystal a little bit when it comes to that. I'm gonna call it a fear of failure. I'm so grateful for what I have, even to this point, that I want to lock down on it and make sure it's so protected I don't lose it, because I don't want to go backwards, right? I have I have a different story than her in my own way, though. I've had a lot of fight. And so life is finally in a good spot, and I don't want to lose that. And I'm later in life. And so I feel like I don't have the great big window and endless time. I've got a limited window to get wherever it is I'm going to go. I never, ever, I've been a W-2 person, and in 2008, 2009, right in that window is when I went out to start my management company, which is what I've done for a career. Hit a bunch of what I'll call little brick walls that I got frustrated with and said, screw that, I'm going to go do this on my own, and I'm going to take care of those people that seem to be getting stepped on. So that's what I've been doing, but I've done the same thing for 30 years, except I was attached to a W-2. I'm not an entrepreneur by trade. I'm actually quite a conservative operator, came out of an engineer and a housewife. So everything has always been safe, and I haven't dealt with a lot of loss personally when it comes to mom and dad. Always made sure I had everything. Parents have been married 60 years. I've been very fortunate that way. Very conservative upbringing. My dad worked at the same place for 40 years, never had a different job, that kind of thing. So very old school. And now I'm in this place where I have these opportunities and I have the background. I even have the connections, right? I know where there's money. One of my maybe someday partners is like, I know where we can get $2 million if I just walk down the hall of the office. So we talk about that, but there isn't exactly product there. And that's buying bigger product with partners. And I'm even looking at smaller stuff, which is I just went and looked at a property tonight. They're going to get multiple offers tomorrow, and I'm not prepared for it. I will say, once looking at it, it's not going to be the right property for me, but that's pretty typical. The reality being, if I did find something, I'm not prepared, and I don't know how to. If I had a property that I know is going to have an offer tomorrow, how do you get all those private lending opportunities or these owner finance or all these things that people do? You can't, when there's multiple offers, I don't know if those opportunities are there. There's so much that I feel like I might be missing out on just out of lack of experience. So then I just freeze and go, not for me. And I have all these excuses, right? So like all the visual stuff you walked Crystal through, I see all that, I know all that. And then there's this gap in the middle, which is the financing. Like I'm like paralyzed right here. I can get there. I know where I want to go. I have all that stuff visualized. I've been doing a lot of work the last couple of years on that kind of thing. And I just keep coming back to this fear of now what? And I feel like my mind just goes blank, and it shouldn't. We manage 55 to 60 bank accounts, 5 different banks. I have banking relationships, but they're so structured, and I don't quite fit into that structure, but I'm not trying to get into a deal with $5,000. I've got some money. I've got decent credit. I've got good history. I'm just kind of like, so I'm frustrated, right? How do I break through this?
Okay, so let me ask you, the first question is, how do you know when it's time to freak out and get stuck?
When it's time to freak out?
Yeah, because it's a decision. How do you know when it's time to decide that?
I back out before I get to the freak out, because that's safe.
Okay. How do you know when it's time to back out?
When I see something that I think I can buy, and then I know based on the price point or the timing, I can't pull it together within 24 hours or 48 hours. So I'll just let that one go and look for something else.
And then when you get to the something else, what happens then?
Same thing.
You back out.
Of course. I'm really good at this pattern right now this year.
It sounds like you really are.
For a couple of years, in January 1, I had my goals all planned out. I'm going to buy an investment property this year. When I went to an event in Scottsdale, I almost bought one in Phoenix, actually.
Okay.
So close. And then I hit that, and COVID was just starting to happen. There was a bunch of insecurity there. So I came home, and I never even went back to it. I was there saying, if I was ready, I would have bought that. I'm okay with buying something within about a 2-hour flight. Price points are great there. I can do those. Like this stuff is, and then I go, actually what happened was I had a tree have a freak accident and fall on one of my buildings and take out the top story. So that actually in reality distracted me, but it was an easy excuse to just continue down the path of, now I've got COVID hitting and I've got all this other stuff I have to do. And that took about 4 months to get through everything that caused. And now I'm back into where I left in February.
Okay. You just mentioned something. You said, I believe the direct quote was, if I was ready, I would buy that.
I would have.
Okay. What does ready mean for you?
If I had my financing lined up and I knew what those, the repercussions would have been and what the impact would have been as far as what it was going to take from me, I felt that the rents I could have gotten were right, the size of the building, the price point, location, it was fine. I mean, it would have been an easy deal to do. I couldn't have found that deal here.
What does getting your financing lined up look like?
Making sure I have whatever documentation is going to be required, that I know where the money's coming from, and then that I can make the terms work, meaning that it makes sense.
So how can you get that information? What was the information again? The docs lined up, the terms, and where it's coming from?
Right. And then because I've got, I don't know, a handful of different spreadsheets people have given me to figure out, you know, a cash flow. But frankly, with my background, I'm comfortable with coming up with that kind of thing on my own. But I've got those tools like that. I actually, what's funny is I trust my head more than I'm trusting the tools, because, you know, Dan gave me his tool. I'm like, oh, okay, I see how that works. I feel a little differently here than your market in Cleveland, but I see how you're using this. It's still, I'm looking at those numbers going, I just don't quite agree with them, but I know if it was this way, I'd be fine with it. So I'm comfortable with coming up with my confidence in the deal on how the numbers would run from an income and expense version. But when it comes to on the multifamily side and single family, I don't want to do single family. But the concept of where is that all going to come from when it comes to the actual money, you have to understand too, to a certain degree, I'm also in my head looking at a 30-year, never let it go, long-term hold kind of thing, when in reality, commercial money is going to be 10-year, 5-year, you know, you're going to be cashing out at some point. That scares me. What if we're having times like right now and some of my income streams are gone or what have you, and I don't have those resources, but I've got to cash out. Then I have to sell, or now my plan is all, you know, where the boxes were, there's no longer boxes. I'm forced to do something I didn't want to do when it comes to what my strategy was. That stuff makes me a little bit nervous. At the same time, I know there's creative ways of getting around all these things when those times come. I just don't know what those are. I don't know what they look like. So my original plan was to walk through a deal with a time or two with a partner, so that I could kind of just walk in and listen to the questions and look at the documents and kind of just get a feel for the flow. And then I think I'd be good. But again, why can't I do it? Why am I putting that as a roadblock? I mean, I'm the one with 30 years. I'm the one with management experience. I'm the one that knows how to do this stuff in my sleep. I should have way more confidence than most people in doing this. And I just freak.
What must you do that you don't want to do?
It'd be the approaching to, I don't know what questions to ask on some of this stuff when it comes to how do I start the conversation on private money and to who? I mean, people have this everywhere. I'm watching people talk about, I've done this, I've done, and I'm like, how do you even get to that point where you know that's an option? Or I am not, one of my biggest faults, even in my business that I do right now, is cold calling. All my business that I have is referral. I've never gone out and asked for it. Once I'm engaged in conversation, I do fine. So here's the catalyst. If you say, this is Cassandra, she's good at these things, and here's what she does, you guys go ahead and chat. I'm great. If somebody says, tell me about yourself, oh my gosh, worst question ever to ask me. My 30 years just floods into my head and I don't even know where to start. So when someone says, just go ask questions, I'm like, oh, really? No, yeah. I can't. Like, I don't even, hi, do you have a dog? What's his name? I mean, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to say. I'm
laughing with you.
I know. It's like, your shirt's nice. Like, yeah, that's funny. I mean, you don't know what to say, right? I mean, that's what happens in my head. I flood and then I just get quiet because that's safest.
Got it. So I'm hearing like a multitude of different things. Mm-hmm. But what I think is you just kind of answered yourself by the design of the questions I was asking, which is when you talk to somebody, you're not sure what to say, unless it's a formal introduction and you know what's there. But if you're just, let's just say, how do you currently go find private money?
I don't.
At all?
No.
Okay. Why?
It's funny because I don't know who to ask. I have one client that I had a deal structured that I was confident based off my friend Dan, who does this all the time. And he set up a structure that I'm like, I like this. Like, this works for me. I had a deal and was going to talk to my client about getting me the cash portion, and then the deal sold because it sold in 48 hours. So it just never happened. But right now we're actually spending a bunch of his money on renovations on his projects that I have. So now I wouldn't go ask him for that money. But I honestly think, I mean, I have family-like relationships with my clients. We're partners in this as far as how we approach this. I've got immense trust with them. So I have 2 clients specifically that we have discussed maybe. I have another client who I've asked to go in on a deal with me, and he just said, this is what I've heard from actually 2 other people, is you're smart enough, you can figure this out on your own, you don't need me. And I just stand there, I'm like, no, don't do this. It's so weird because I have that confidence from everyone else, but I don't possess it.
Okay. My first thing is, I don't know who told you go do it by yourself, but I would advise, I got that same advice and I lost $80,000 really quick. Don't do it by yourself. Make sure you continue to ask questions first and foremost as you're putting these things together. Okay. It wasn't until I found somebody that could help me make sense of the chaos and go through that process. Now, when it comes to private money, when you're talking about it comes to the financing, I have access to banks and relationships. So what I think I'm hearing, and I want you to tell me if I'm right, is what your concern is, you don't know how to approach people for private money or joint venture opportunities. Is that right?
I would say yes, but even with the banks, I have this locked in my head that they have 5 check boxes, whatever the number is, and I have to meet all those. I don't even have the confidence to go in and try to sell somebody or know what to sell them on or how to get maybe a little bit of creativity that they may be willing to do because of our relationship.
And what is your goal? Like, what is it that you're overall trying to accomplish?
I need to get a deal financed.
What kind of deal?
I'm open. I just need to get rolling. So anything, okay. I mean,
that is the first mistake. Okay. That's the first mistake. And I'm going to, not just any deal. I want to know what your strategy is. What do you need from the deal? What's your exit strategy? What are you going to accomplish? What are you going to, like, what is the end game? Is it buy, renovate, rent, hold, refi? Is it, cash out, get another one? Like, is it buy, hold, a stabilize? Is it a value add? What is the actual deal you want that makes sense for you and your resources?
Well, and what's funny is because of the experience that I have, I can look at a deal and come up with what I want a strategy is on that deal. So I have what I believe is a little bit of flexibility because I've walked those paths. You have to understand, I've managed everything from a 6 unit to 850 in one deal alone. So I've seen a lot. I've managed over 13,000 units in my career. I'm comfortable doing a lot of different strategies. My personal strategy would be to buy and hold right now. I believe that will evolve as I gain experience.
Okay, I have a question. When you say you managed 13,000 units, were you a property manager or you owned them and managed them?
No, property manager.
Okay, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. Buying and holding up to that amount, you literally, that the financing piece of it, you're going to have to come up with what that strategy looks like so that you know what kind of money to go get. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think that that's the missing piece is you don't know what you don't know.
I think part of my problem is also, though, in this market, I'm lucky if I can find something, let alone
what market?
The Seattle market. If I can find something under $1 million, I'm competing with people who are more powerful on the pocketbook side than I can be, and that's where I feel like that part I need to figure out. Sorry. I need to figure out what money I can figure out. Yeah, my German Shepherd.
I feel like your dog should just go chase someone down, bite him in the ass, and get you money.
Well, Prime just delivered something, so that's exactly what happens every time. So the idea is I'm trying to remain flexible because I've got limitations on what our product availability is. Even if I want to start trying to figure out how to even wholesale, like somebody fed me a deal, I have mixed feelings about it, but the concept was I'm going to have to approach the owner. And then I'm just like, with what and how? And, then you start going into all those questions of how do I even approach this person to see if owner financing, since this is a wholesale deal and it's not even on the market, what would I ask him and how does that look? And how do I not look like an idiot when I walk up? Because I'm confident in the management side. I'm not confident in preparing this piece of it. I can run it. If I see it and I want to go approach it, I can run it all day long. I'm perfectly comfortable with how to make that make money.
So is your goal to buy it and run it yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's why you want it to be there?
Right. And if I did buy something, say Phoenix or Idaho or someplace that wasn't here, then I would have to book in a property management environment that way until I knew that I didn't have to. But generally speaking, that would be part of it, is having someone else manage it. But if I
Okay,
do
good.
then
Thank God. Thank God. Okay. Yeah, no, I've never stepped foot in any of my properties, and I damn well don't manage them. And the reason why is if I tried to invest in California, I'd be the same way that you're at right now. And then on top of that, the cap rates are like, I don't know, 2%, 3%.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't really do it. So I would try to open up to, if you can't find the properties that match the finance strategy where you are, where can you find those? Have you expanded that part?
Other than when I was in Phoenix and starting to think that I could do this here, meaning when I was in Phoenix, I will say my fear is, how do I know that if I'm even in talking in a group like this, how do I know I can trust people? That's a scary thing for me too. When we start looking at partnering or partnering with people I've never met, I don't know.
Number one rule, I don't partner. Yeah.
See, and I don't
because
want to.
You can't trust. You can't trust isn't a word in real estate.
That's
You
exactly
trust,
right.
you trust but verify. And there's boundaries and fences that we put up to make sure, and everything is legal. If you contractually are going to be partnering with somebody, you just got to make sure you check all the boxes, dot the T's, cross the I's, or opposite of that. But it's good that you don't trust anybody, because trust is not a word that we use in real estate. Right? Contractors will tell me all the time, oh, I need 50% down. Trust me, I'll do the work. No, I wouldn't even trust my brother to go do it with 50% down. No, because things happen. Other jobs are happening. Like, so that part is right. Like, you don't want to trust, but there are systems you can put in place. If partnering is what you need to do, there's systems you can put in place. There's contracts you can put in place. And there are processes that you can put in place to make sure you're mitigating the risk on that. Right?
And how do you find out about those?
Oh, well, we have them everywhere in our mastermind group.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're interested in learning more about that, like let's see, we've got Christelle, Debbie, Felicia, Batel's here, Natasha's here, Joni's here. We've got at least 7 people, Laurel's here. At least 7 or 8 people on this call right now are a part of our mastermind, and we teach them how to do it remotely. Like from they could be. I don't invest in the coasts. I'm a Midwest girl. And so we don't go to our properties, and that takes in and of itself a mindset shift, right? I think that what it is you're very good at property management, and you're very confident in that, which is glorious. It's the getting to that part and then finding a property management company that you would approve of. We teach people how to vet that out. You'd probably already be really good at that though. And then making sure that they're in place, and then they have the reporting structure and expectation where you're following up and finding out, okay, what is the occupancy? What is this? Where are we on rents? How many units do we have to turn over? And so that is what that process looks like. It's not you managing it per se, but you're managing the management companies, if that makes sense.
So my experience as a regional director, for example, when I'm over 2,000 units that are in multiple states, that's exactly what we do, right? I mean, that's how we're running it. So that part doesn't bother me.
Good. Yeah. We got our situation. We're in 14 different states across the country, and you never know you can't be in all 14. So I'm glad that you're comfortable with that. It feels like what you're not comfortable with is finding private money that closes the gap when you're trying to go and do the investment. And so I'm going to challenge you, and I do this call once a month. And if you want to come to next month's call, I'll ask you a follow-up question on how'd it go. But I want to challenge you to figure out, how can you go to networking events, use Facebook, any other social media, LinkedIn, to just start posting about the real estate deals that you're doing and talking about, hey, I'm analyzing this deal right now. Anybody that's interested in something like this, like, let's connect. Even if it's not under contract, it's a situation where they're seeing you posting about deals and they're like, oh, Cassandra's into real estate investing. Cool. And then when they contact you, you could be building a relationship, because you need to stay within SEC guidelines. Obviously, you need to build a relationship with them before you ever go into an investing relationship with them, right? And so you want to be, okay, so that deal might not be for you, but what are you looking for? And I can go find those types of deals. What's the amount of capital that you're willing to or comfortable investing with? And what's the return you're looking for? And then you just kind of curl your toes and shut up and let them answer, right? And you just kind of go from there and start building those relationships. That's what I want to encourage you to try to do. The way to do it is not like you're just approaching a cold ass stranger and saying, hey, I have properties. Do you have money? Like, that's weird. That's like awkward. Party of 2, table's ready.
That's exactly what it feels like.
Right. And it's, of course, you're human. Of course, that's going to feel weird and clumsy. If you have a social media presence and let's say you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, in those areas, just start posting about the deals that you're looking at in the markets that you're looking at and what those terms look like. And people start noticing, oh, she does that. And then that is how you can start having conversations. They'll usually approach you. And one of the things I'm going to put drop a link in here about how do you pitch yourself. Really just like being able to, in 35 words or less, say what you do. So that anytime you get into an engaging conversation with somebody, they're asking you what you do. You're saying it in a way that makes them go, oh shit, that's interesting. I have questions. Because it's like when you go to a bar. I don't know if you're a drinker or not, and if you're not, I'm sorry, but it's the only equivalent. Like, this is what my example is. If I'm at the bar and I meet you and we just ordered margaritas and I'm like, hey, Cassandra, what's up? Blah, 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 drinking our drinks. By the time, I haven't even got my drink yet. By the time I order my drink, before that drink comes, I have maybe, 3-5 minutes to get to know you a little bit. And, you know, when I used to want to hook up with people at the bar, I'd be like, I want to get them interested enough to come back to the table with me and finish this margarita, and then maybe we'll talk about breakfast. So I have 3 to 5 minutes to do that. And while we're waiting for a drink, I'm going to be talking and asking questions, and I want you to know about me, and I want to know about you. So in 35 words or less, you want to be able to put that out there so they're like, oh shit, and give you like that rocks eyebrow where it's like, what do you do? Wait a minute. And one of the biggest ways that I do that is like, yeah, I basically ask people if I could just hold their money for about 6 to 12 months. And if it would be okay for them, if I hold their money and just pay them, get them their money back in like 6 to 12 months with like 10% extra on top. Like, is that something that would be cool for you or not? And they're usually like, what? You just want to hold my money? Yeah, I just want to hold it. Just want to hold it for you. I'm going to store it. I'll put it to work for you. And this is what I do with that. And this is how I've done it. And here's all these other examples. And just like through storytelling, get them to ask more questions and then answer those questions. But it's kind of like dating, right? It's like, it's dating. You've got to figure out what they want. You know, when Stacy asks, when I'm going to take Stacy to dinner, one of the things that I will try to ask is, hey, guess where I'm taking you to dinner tonight? And then she'll tell me whatever her first guess is. Shit, how'd you know? That's where she wanted to go, right? That's where she wanted to go. So it's like when you're at the bar and you're having those conversations, you're getting to know them, but you're also letting them know. And it's kind of like that give and take relationship where it's like a little bit of, and they're fascinated and interested, and they're like, well, shit, you got more time? Yeah, come back. You want to come back to the table? You know, that's literally just how natural and casual you make it, right? But you got to start with posting on social media. And the second thing that you got to do is try and find like a real estate investing group somewhere in your local area and go to those. I used to go to those 2 or 3 times a month when we first started. I didn't have any damn capital. And if I wasn't going to a REI event or wholesaling something so we could get capital, I mean, I was going to these gigs and I wear a big old sticker that said, I need money. And then I would be like, who has stickers that say I have a deal or I have money? You know, and just be funny, like I have money, and just walk around with your sticker, be silly, whatever. It's just people like funny. So it's like, hey, I have money. Do you have money? I mean, because we could be friends and make money together. And you just start these conversations with people. If you were a guy, you could actually even do this too, but just like, hey man, I seem to have misplaced my Congressional Medal of Honor. Will you help me look for it? Anything that, you know, is an icebreaker. Hey, how much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice. You just humor people who are like, oh, that's funny. And then you could be like, yeah, I'm looking for money. I have all these deals and I'm running out of private money because I have so many things going on. And like, is that something that's of interest to you? If it is, like, let's chat, let's develop a relationship. And if I come across a deal that's of interest to you, like if you're in Seattle at a REI event, the first couple of things you're going to want to ask, I would ask this at San Diego, like, are you comfortable with people who are investing out of state? Are you comfortable if I show you my process on how I do that? I could show you a couple of things on portfolios that I've done in the past. For you especially, how many doors I managed in the past, 13,000 doors. And you just show that you are a credible person and build the relationship. It's going to take a little bit of time. It took me about 3 months. And then you get that list, you get through that first deal. And at the end of that deal, when you go to give them their money back, then you do what I call, hey, we're at a fork in the road. Do you want me to give you the interest and let the money ride and make more money? Or do you want it all back? And we could just call it quits. You don't want to make any more money? Are you good? Now, nobody wants to say, yeah, I don't want to make any more money. I don't want that. Here, take it. They're going to be like, yeah. So they're already riding the high of you just made them money and you just handed them their check. And I could give you all of it back, or we could just do this profit and keep going. Like, what do you want to do?
You're such a hustler, and I'm not. You're so good.
Well, I like Crystal grew up in Folsom in the ghetto, and I had to hustle, right? And so
yeah.
It's a skill. It's just street smarts and getting people. It's like Aladdin, you know. He would get things through using his wit and getting into rapport with people and relationships. Real estate is all about relationships, resources, like how to maximize all of that and bring it together.
I don't even network for real estate now. It's one of my, the social thing is really, I mean, I'm so based on my relationship with you, what I've shown you, what my performance has been, my clients are rock solid, but I slide in under the radar. I start producing, and then they're like, oh my gosh, you need to be bigger. You need to grow. You're so good at this. And that's awesome. But I don't go out and tell people about that. That's why when people ask me, what do? I don't want to tell them all the things I've done necessarily. I'm just like, it's very nice to meet you. I'm just super annoyingly boring. It's just.
That's okay. You're not, that's going to be something how you identified yesterday. Now you're going to identify as wherever I'm going. And I'll give you an example. Like the video that I'm going to send you is a video where I'm describing how I created my pitch for working on people with mindset. It's not even related to real estate, right? So when I go to those types of seminars to help women or female entrepreneurs get unstuck, that is the pitch I'm giving to explain myself in 35 words or less. But if I'm going to an REI event, I have a real estate one, right? If I'm going to, I don't know where else I go. I don't even go anywhere. If I'm going to a poker tournament, I'm actually not going to say shit. But what I'm saying is you have a pitch for whatever the situation is so that you just have options and you'll feel more comfortable. And the more you do it and the more you find yourself saying it, the more it's going to be like just unconsciously happening behind you. Have you ever been driving on the freeway and you don't know how the hell you did it, but you got off on your exit and you're halfway home and then you wake up? Yeah, that's because your unconscious mind knows that. You're programmed and it's wired. And pretty soon when you are talking to people about private money and doing those things, it's just going to be like, boom, coming up. And you're going to be like, hey, man, you like pizza? You like real estate? Want to give me some money? Cool. Oh, wait, you don't like pizza? You know, it's just going to start coming out and you'll build relationships and be able to prove to people, hey, this is it. I'm the real deal. I've been doing this. I've managed a 13,000 unit portfolio before. Right. And so I've got and earned the stripes. Do you or do you not want to make some money? And there's just ways to say it, you know, but I would say do that first. Like try and find an REI group that you can locally. Some of the questions that ask are you comfortable investing out of state? What does that look like? I have processes that I do and follow with that. And then another thing is also going on social media, start posting the deals that you're analyzing, the terms of those deals and what you're looking for. You're either looking for a JV partner or you're looking to make money. You're looking to find a private money investor that wants to make a sick return. I mean, just use fancy, grabby language. There's this book that'll teach you how to market. I love marketing. So you'll see all my story posts. It's usually for high entertainment. But this book right here, it's like my Bible. The 16-word sales letter. It's like one idea, 10 questions. So you need to answer, you want them to believe the one idea, and then you want to answer the 10 questions that are in that order so that they feel more comfortable about, oh, okay. You know, it's like marketing is everything in real estate when you're trying to get into the private money and build some relationships with folks. Can I have a drink of that? Sorry. I'm in my office with the door closed and there's like fuzz bunnies on the fan.
You guys, thank you for being so patient while I'm going through this. I really appreciate it. I know I'm taking a lot of her.
So the next thing, next month after you do those things, Cassandra, come back next month for sure. Because I'm going to do for you this thing right here. This is like a little diagram. It's actually of my hand when I was at a training. But it's called chaining anchors. And what it does is it takes you from being stuck to resourceful. And I'm going to do I'll do that on a call, and I'll let you be the example for when I do that if you're open to it. But it will require you to touch your knuckle when I tell you to touch it and lift it up when I tell you to lift it up, okay? Because normally I'll be doing it like, you know, with my clients right here, but since you're not in front of me, I'll have you just kind of touch yourself. Nobody's laughing? Only Stacy's laughing at that one. Cool. Hopefully that helps, but come back next month for sure, okay?
No,
because
absolutely.
I think that's what's blocking you, Cassandra. I think that you know you need to go do those things, but you don't want to go do those things. But every time you're afraid of something or there's something unknown, and then when you get on the other side of it, I mean, Crystal, am I lying? Was it better when you realize, oh shit, I'm gonna go join the military. Oh shit, I'm gonna go to school. Every time you face that discomfort and you take action and get on the other side of that fear, it's awesome. So I really do think that that's why you're stuck, and I want you to do those two things and then come and see me next month on this call and we'll follow up. I have a lot of repeaters here. This is awesome. And it was awesome talking to you. Don't worry, they're used to waiting.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I got Debbie and Felicia next, actually. You're next on the list. You guys have being confident in your decision. Can I unmute you? There we go. Hi, ladies. How are you?
We're good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
awesome.
good. I can't lie. Huh?
How's your ankle?
Well, it's okay. I get the cast off on Thursday, and then it goes into a boot that I have to like wear heelys on and then like remove them or whatever. But yeah, it's all right. I'm keeping it elevated. Yeah. So you guys, being confident in a decision, knowing which direction to go, and fear of finding cash buyers. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to?
Just for a couple. Just for a couple. That's just 2 to list this time. We'll have a whole list next month too.
Okay. Okay. So you've got being confident in your decision. When do you know that you don't feel confident in, and in what kinds of decisions are you talking about?
So for me, for instance, this North Carolina thing that we're doing, the numbers look good, but we've never done that. And it's like we have COVID, we have this, we have that, retail. So it's like, is it a good decision just because it looks good? Is it not? It's like, there's no black and white. When you do this, there's a whole area of gray. And because you're making a huge step forward financially, being cut a little bit down the road, maybe you have a little more confidence, but this is the first big commercial deal that we've done. So we did some single family stuff that we were pretty confident of, but we hadn't learned the trust but verify and not great decisions. Right. So it puts that anxiety of, I mean, what happens if COVID hits and all of a sudden every property is empty? You still owe the money, bottom line is, right? So, and things like that for me.
Okay, can I ask you guys a question? I just did, so it should be yes.
You can ask us another question.
Thank you. How long have you guys been investing? When did Stacy first train you?
Oh, we started
before Stacy.
Before Stacy,
Before Stacy. Okay. When did Kimberly last train you?
Kimberly was
February.
February. Okay. So how long have you guys been doing the whole investing gig?
2 years. 2 years.
2 years. 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay. So when you're doing that, when did you in that 2.5 years make a great decision and you knew it was a great fucking decision?
Having Stacy and Kimberly as our coaches, that would be the 2 good decisions I'd say we've made.
I think we've made more than that.
I think so too. Tell me, Felicia. I think so too.
We've got a flip that is on the market now that we got for $239, and the ARV was close to 600. Like,
okay,
up front, there's enough margin in there that that's a good decision. Yep. Because we also have a contractor who goes out and looks before we get anything under contract.
That's true.
Yep.
So building our team in Knoxville and growing that, we have a good working relationship with them. also feels like a good decision, and we know it is. You have to go through growing pains even through that, but
So for you guys, Felicia, when you say we knew it was a good decision, I'm hearing the spread on the numbers was a determining factor to let you know it was a good
there's
decision.
something concrete in it, and the excitement it stirs.
Okay. Something concrete. I love it. Isn't it so funny how we all just want fucking certainty in life?
Yeah,
Isn't that just-
yes, but there's also part of me that likes an uncertainty because you never know what's coming, and
Yeah.
it could be better. So
Yeah, agreed. Now, let me ask you this. In the 2.5 years that you guys have been doing it, what has gone wrong?
go ahead.
So we were trusting, and we, from another training company, we were hooked up with a turnkey company,
Mhm.
and we bought 5 properties that, when you read the brochure, and in proximity, it is true that, but they are across the highway. So all the portfolio propaganda we saw was for across the interstate in the nice neighborhood, and we bought in the not so nice neighborhood, and we invested a ton of money. And well, for instance, one house we've invested $120,000 and it's only worth $39,000, but it is gainfully rented, so that's a plus. So we have a whole portfolio of those houses.
Okay.
So now I question our decision, and we know more now, but
What would you do differently if you had to go back?
Due
what-
diligence.
due
Okay.
diligence.
Okay.
Check.
What
check
else?
the
What
location
else?
itself and what's there. Look at comps around the area. So a
Yeah.
lot of due diligence, and not just going because somebody referred and said they were good.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
you've learned the lessons along the way. Sounds
Yes.
like one of them was pretty painful. Let me ask you one more thing, and that is one of the things that we do, because it took us a little while to build a multi-million-dollar portfolio. Along that way, I had to think about every possible dang thing that could go wrong, and then based on those things that could go wrong, what would I do? Right? What would I do if I do the inspection from the contractor or the inspector, and then the contractor goes in and says no, and then we find out that there's a foundation issue? What am I going to do if they don't pay rent? What am I going to do if a pandemic hits? Oh shit, that actually happened. What am I going to do if the market gets oversaturated and all kinds of investors come in and there's a shortage of labor? So now labor prices go up. Like, what I'm asking is, do you guys have a contingency plan or a playbook that you follow for each deal that you're going through and for your portfolio as a collective?
No, I think that's part of the reason we signed up for this. And the other part is that, different than anything else we've done, there's support here. Just like we were talking about after the call or something, but how supportive these calls are, all of the calls. Everybody's supportive, everybody's patient. And even though we're all heading somewhat towards the same goal, it doesn't feel like anybody is out to slit your throat. Everybody's like, there's plenty of deals. I'm doing my thing. You do your thing. I can support you. Maybe we can share. Maybe we can't. And so I think that playbook and that support is what we're looking for here.
Okay. So I am going to list you down as that. What I just heard is that you want to volunteer to be with me building that out for the class. That's
Sure.
what I just heard. Okay, cool.
Sure.
Because we can, Stacy's laughing in the
Then you got
background.
good hearing aids.
Yeah. Because here's what we can do. We can use it based on one of your deals that you're going through or one of your properties that you have. And we can just, part of the plan, and Kimberly and I were trying to come up with, how do we get like a case study where we can build something along those lines? So what your strategy is, what would you have to do if that strategy couldn't pan out? What's the next best strategy? And then what's the next best strategy from that? It's very helpful to have that. And we have that. And we could try and help you customize one for your portfolio. And then you'll know everybody's going to want it, obviously, everybody that's in the mastermind. And we can add to it and keep going. So it's just a playbook that you can go to. Would you feel more comfortable about your decisions and being confident in those decisions if you knew you had multiple outs?
Yes, definitely.
We've been talking about that a little bit with this house that just went on the market with everything. That if it didn't sell in a certain amount of time, could we rent it? For how much would it pay the payment? So that's in the back of our mind, trying to contemplate that. But
That is
there's
exactly what you
so
have to
many
do.
more options than just those two little pieces.
Yep. Absolutely. It's like, do you ever follow poker?
No.
You ever know anything about poker? Oh, okay, but
I have to be told how to play it every time, so no.
it's okay. In the world of poker, you always want to have outs. It's the same in real estate. So when you have, let's just say you're holding 2 cards and it's a jack and a 10, and the board has 8, 9, and a 2, right? You know that you have 8, 9, 10, jack. You're 4 into a straight. You only need 1 card, right? You either need a queen or a 7. How many 7s are in a deck?
4.
How many queens are in a deck?
4.
So you have 8 outs, right? You want to look for the properties where you have the most outs. If you get into a property where you're going for a straight, but you're holding the ace 2 in your hand and the 3, 4 drops, you only got a 6 to, or a 5 to come. There's only 4 5s. You only have 4 outs. You want to try and get into deals where you have the most outs. It'll make you feel way more comfortable. And the most outs can include having a big margin so that you have some fluff. It can include like, how long is it going to take? If I hold it, could I off it? How could I wrap it into a different part of my portfolio? Like, what are all of the outs that I could have? If I don't have at least 8 outs, I'm not going to play the hand, right? So that's kind of what I'm talking about here. You know that going in, what your strategy is and how you'll get out of it if you get yourself into a pickle. And we can work on that for sure. That was something that I was trying to put together for October. I'll try and put it together sooner though, since you guys are struggling. Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Fear of finding cash buyers. Let's talk about that.
So for me, I for so many years worked in healthcare and hospice, and I was confident in every part of that, the teaching, every part of that, because I was the top and I was the best at that, and I was confident. And this is new, and I'm not the top yet, and I'm still learning. So it's like teetering on, do I take the training wheels off or not? Confidence, sort of, with that, the fear of feeling kind of stupid. When I don't want to sound stupid asking people, and I don't want to cross boundaries and laws that are going to get anybody in trouble or make people mistrust us or whatever. I want to put on we want to do it right. I want to do it right.
Yeah, you need to do it right. So let me ask you, who's going to think you sound stupid?
Maybe somebody that's experienced.
Doesn't matter.
Once I get past it the first time, I'll feel stupid the first time, but then once I get past it a couple times, then I'm okay. It was the same thing like when Stacy came and did that and had us call realtors and lenders and different things that duh. And now it's no problem for us. We're just
Totally.
Like the contract we're working with now, he's pissed us off and not afraid to jump down his back and throat, but that took a little bit of getting there. So it's the same thing.
One of the things that I've never been on your one-on-one calls with Stacy or Kimberly or anything. I usually only see you guys on the weekly call and this call. But one of the things that I always try to say is when it comes to contractors, like I, by the way, am the pro at managing our contractors.
Good.
When it comes to managing the contractors, everything that you can do to keep it as proactive as possible will save you enormous amounts of anxiety. So one of the very first things I do when I get with any contractors, number one, I always go for 3 bids. Once I get those 3 bids and I'm looking at them, I literally will call each one of them up. Hey, so I saw your bid. This is the scope of work. What were you thinking on this? What were you thinking on this? I want to know their thought process against each other. I'm also asking questions about their communication style. I'm also making sure, dude, we're going to get on the phone every Sunday and go over this scope of work and all of these milestones and how we're tracking to those. Like, what is your expectation for me to communicate with you or you to communicate with me if you're off track on these milestones? Because this is where I'm at. Like, this is how much money we burn through in a day on holding costs. This is what this looks like. All of those things, you know, getting them to understand. and establishing milestones and then just meeting with them to hold them accountable to it, and understanding that process and meeting with them proactively versus when they finally come and drop the ball, you've already had all these other fucking conversations and you're like, you told me you were going to do this, this, and this, and you didn't. And always having some sort of like 2 or 3 on your bench for every single trade. That way, if the contractor kind of starts going down the wrong slope, you're going in and you have other triggers or levers that you can pull and feel confident that he's fired. You're done. Right. And yeah, you're just going to try as hard as you can to do it without him putting a lien on the property, obviously, but being proactive about it versus reactive is always, it's 9 times out of 10 relieves so much anxiety. So I think that the fear that you have, you've overcome it in the past with conversations. What is the one thing about cash buyers that you're most scared of?
That the deal, so that we present a deal and they enter it and something goes wrong and you don't have the money to pay them back. And not only does that ruin trust with them, but anybody else they talk to. And I'm a semi-moral person and I don't ever want to hurt anybody or cheat anybody.
Sure. No. No, the whole idea is that we want to help people make money and make their money grow and work for them, right? So yeah, no, I'm with you.
It's just learning the right way to present it and the conversation and how to have it and getting past that.
Well, and can I add something?
She's great on the phone.
I think people with, well,
entitlement for me.
Not entitled, but for me, it's people who have lots of money have power. So it's a different, like it's not like we're begging for money because we're going to bring a good deal to the table, but it's like they have, you don't have, and I get the intellectual piece that what you're going to put the deal together, you're going to manage, you're going to do all these things. So you bring something really valuable to the table, but without money, you can't do the deal. So it doesn't matter how smart you are. It's like they hold a little key of power that you don't have.
I'm going to mind fuck you right now, Debbie. Without the deal, you don't give them money.
That's right. I get that.
So I mean, it works on both sides. How can I get you to see it equally?
Yeah, I think it's the way I was raised. People with money have power. People that don't have money don't have power. And I've been comfortable, so it's not, but like if you see the Grant Cardones, or when we read your thing that you have a multi-million-dollar company and you took all your children to kindergarten, did all that, was like, I am never complaining about time management to Jen, ever.
Oh, that one post that I did? Yeah.
It's like,
that was a fun day.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this though. People with money have the power. Is that something you wholeheartedly, like, you believe that?
It's kind of with my black and white. I live in the gray zone with that. Yes and no.
Okay. Because some people feel like people with knowledge have power, right? There's these little beliefs. Yeah, there's these beliefs that we all have, and those beliefs are like our operating system, and your body just starts following and doing the things that you believe because it's programmed to do them that way. And if you truly believe that the people with the money have the power, like, I need to fix that on a separate call. I need to do a belief swap for you. And between now and then, I'm going to schedule it with both of you. I want to clear you of any self-limiting beliefs such as that. It takes about 8 to 15 minutes. But what I want you to do is I want you to think about, what do you want to believe instead, Debbie? Because I don't want you to believe that only people with money have the power. I want you to feel confident that you're bringing value to the table to help them. And what do you want to think? What do you want to believe instead?
That we have power, that I can be confident in the decisions, and going forward, when I present it, it's an honest, sound proposition, and that it's always going to be a win-win. So
we're going to pop that belief out for you. Okay. I'm going to set up a call. You guys are in our platinum program, so you get one-on-one calls with me too. I don't think you realize it, but I'll set it up. We'll pop that belief out. Felicia, if you feel like you're having any, I need to know, like, think about what is it that I might be believing that's holding me back, and what do I want to believe differently so that I can get that shit out of the way. I did it for Kahisha, and then she ended up making an offer and getting it accepted.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, it happens quick. Okay.
I am a go-getter and a pusher and usually pretty confident, but my last job kind of swept the rug out from under my feet along with a lot of other people, and that kind of crushed a little bit of that confidence. I'm trying to regain some of that. And I, on the other hand, have not been comfortable my whole life. There was times I didn't eat because I didn't have money.
Same.
Or my electricity got turned off or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't ever want I never
so
want to feel
broke
that again.
I've been so broke. The electric company came over and blew out the candles and I said, no light.
I don't want to feel that way again ever. So I'm rebuilding that confidence.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Debbie, I'm going to ask you a couple. I'm going to do some Cartesian logic, quantum linguistics on you really quick. I'm going to do that funny shit where I ask the questions and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm going to ask them quick. Don't really expect you to answer me, but I do, I'm going to ask them, and you just sit there and smile and look pretty while I talk. Okay. Ready?
Okay.
So you mentioned that you believe the people with money have all the power, right? Okay. What would happen if you didn't believe that people with money have the power? What would happen if you did believe that people with money had power? And what wouldn't happen if you did believe that people with money have power? But what wouldn't happen if you didn't believe that people with money had power? So what would happen if you didn't? What would happen if you did? What wouldn't happen if you did? And what wouldn't happen if you didn't believe that people with money had the power? And what's wrong? What caused the problem? How have you failed to resolve this? How can you overcome the solution to your problem? And what would you like to change? And when will you stop it from being a limitation? How many ways do you know you've already solved this? And I know you're changing and seeing things differently now, all right? And what's the problem again? How do you know? When did you decide that was a problem? When don't you do it now? And what are you not deciding when you don't do it? And how is that different from how you were? And how do you know that now? And what other changes would you like to make? And I want you to go inside and try in vain to have that same problem. It was a terrible problem, wasn't it? And you want to make changes, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
And what would it be like when you have made those changes now? In the future, as you look back and see what it was like to have had that problem, as you think about it now, if you can make this change for yourself so that you could stop having made that change and see yourself now, do you like the way you look if you could make that change and look back at yourself having made that change now? How are you feeling about people with money?
Going through all that it's like Felicia says, sometimes everybody puts their pants on the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I should adopt, that it doesn't make them
Correct.
more powerful.
Correct. Do you have any clarity on what you want to believe instead after this?
When you put it as knowledge is power, that you're equals and you each hold a key to the puzzle, or a piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
I think there's other ways that people have power too: the knowledge, the money, the will to do it. They may be the ones who go do the research, and there's lots of things people can offer for power.
Money, knowledge, and skill, man. Right? The ability. Think about all the power Michael Jordan had on the court because he had so much skill, right? Cool. So I'm going to reach out to you guys and set up an appointment so we could do a one-on-one to do a belief swap for you, okay? I did a little mind stuff for you right now, but we'll definitely connect and do a quick one-on-one call and get you into a new belief. So I want you to think about what you want to believe instead, all right?
Okay.
All right, ladies. It was good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Happy Labor Day.
You too.
Thank you. Okay. I don't have anyone else on here. Anybody else got anything? Lupe, you're here. Hi, Lupe. Or are you?
I am here.
Do you got anything you want to share with us, Lupe? Or you just here to visit like Marlene?
Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm on the floor. Um,
Love it.
Jen already talked to you. I think last time we had a discussion, I was just trying to find balance between my full-time job and family life and trying to grow my business. So I've been I've been scaling back a little bit just because I feel like it's more important for me to win the marathon at the end and not burning myself out. So I've been doing that. So I just want to keep a slow and steady pace for now until I feel more comfortable and more familiar with, with the whole real estate
Yep.
investing. Then I think I will try to venture out a little bit more. But I do agree with, I think the part that scares me the most is gonna be like the raising capital. So whenever I get there, I'm not ready to take that step yet. I know I'm not. But I think when I get there, we'll need to chat more about that.
Okay. I'll teach you that stuff too. No problem.
Mhm.
And you've got your own for a little while, but eventually you will want to do that. The best time to start building that list of private money lenders, Lupe, is now though. Okay. The best time to build is now because it might take 3 months to build that relationship and raise the capital within SEC guidelines. You have to have a relationship with the investors that you're working with, right? So you might want to start building that relationship now and posting those types of things the way we've been talking about. Sorry, I need my inhaler. Hold on a second. Stacy, can you give me my inhaler, please? Do you need my inhaler?
I think you need a margarita.
I do. Well, I think there's just dust on the fan, and I'm in here with the room because I have asthma, and I'm like and wheezing a little bit, so feeling a little off. But yeah, thank you. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna be pathetic for a second here. It's empty. No, okay, wait, it's not. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Lupe, if you start that now, right, then it starts building up, and you could be posting about the deals that you're doing and analyzing, and it generates the buzz, and then you can have those conversations, and I'll help you. I'll send you the same link that I'm going to send to Cassandra. If anybody else wants that link, let me know. But it's the one, 35 words or less, what do you do? Like, tell me what you do.
Okay.
It takes a little bit of time to build those relationships. Like 45 to 90 days is what it took me to get my first 2 or 3 investors. And then it was like, cool. And I used them over and over again for a smooth 18 months. And then I got a 4th, a 5th. It took a little bit of time, but it was worth it. It was worth it. So I would say start now.
Okay.
Start building that list now. The 2 things you always want to try to build first from a strategy perspective in real estate is your buyer's list and your private money list, right? Because the hard money is already there. You can find hard money anywhere. But the private money lenders and buyer's list are the first 2 things that I built first. That's what I focused on first. You want to, like, your best defense is your offense, right? You want to be ready. Like, the time to be ready is not the fucking time to get ready. So build the buyer's list and build the private money list first. And that gives you the comfort and confidence to make offers and get into deals because you already know I got a buyer. If this doesn't fall, or if it falls through and I don't end up holding it, I have buyers that would be interested. So it's okay for me to lock up this deal, right? Or if, holy shit, I did get it and I am gonna make it. Well, I got a whole big old list of people that want to give me private money. No problem. You feel more confident. It's kind of like in jujitsu. When I'm in jujitsu practice, laying on the mat, if I'm really strong at my escapes, I'm way more confident and aggressive in my attacks because I know that if I make a slight wrong move, I can get out. It's all about outs. I know I sound like a chicken shit spine donor, but it is really all about the outs. Thank you. She got me one that works.
Okay.
Does that make sense? The more outs you have, ironically, the more confidence you feel. It's when you're like Cortez with those burnt ships and your back's against the wall and you're like, shit, it's fight or flight time. And yeah, you're going to make it, but it's going to be stressful. You don't want to stay there. You don't want to stay in that zone. where you're always under duress and feeling like you're fight or flight situation. You want to get to a point where, yeah, that might need to motivate you, but you want to get to a point where you're feeling more comfortable and you have a lot of options, and then you're slowing down and taking calculated risks and making strategic decisions versus emotional, right? So there's a time and a place for the panic, freak out, let's go, go, go. And then there's a time and a place for, oh, let me slow down a minute and be strategic with it, you know?
Okay.
I hope that helps. How's everything else going? How was your anniversary?
Oh, it was good. It was
Good.
good. I pretty much took a week off last week.
Nice.
So it feels good though. Like I feel I am I have more energy and I want to get back, you know. So it's
Yeah.
nice.
That's awesome.
It's
Tell-
so good
tell-
to see everybody here.
It's good to see you. Tell Derby we said hello too.
Okay, I will.
Natasha or Laurel, do you guys have anything that you guys want to talk about? Oh, I see Joni's here too. Battelle is here. Man, I got everybody. John, I don't know John, but or Christy. We have new folks too.
I have something actually.
What's up, Florida? How are you? How did the move go?
It went all right.
Good.
It's okay. So far, so good.
All right, what's going on? Talk to me.
So, you know, I'm buying the motel in 2 days. And I just had such a bad experience with the flip and the contractor, and which is still not done. And it's been 9 months, and it was a 2-month project. And it makes me really anxious. And that's why I was so back and forth about, hey, I'm gonna do it myself, and which I'm not, but it's just been such a bad experience, and it was completely my fault. I picked this guy when there were other people, and it makes me doubt myself, you know, because this was my first one, and I've botched it.
So did I.
Right.
So did I. You're human.
You-
What did you learn,
You mean your
Battelle?
first one?
Oh, I fucked my first one up. Sorry for the F-bomb. The 45th F-bomb today. It was an epic fail, Battelle. Epic fail. Epic fail. Yep.
Oh. That makes
Actually,
me feel better.
it wasn't my very first one. My very first one was not remote, though. But it was
Okay.
my third one where I ventured out and went remote. My first remote deal, I bombed. And it's because I overlooked something on an inspection. And I didn't think I needed anybody to go in and look at the foundation. That was critical. I will tell you right now, Everett, Washington, Post and Pure Foundation, I will never buy there again. Not even a little bit. Everybody makes a mistake, right? And I mean, I've since cleared that up, made the money back 10 times, whatever, but it was a costly mistake. Costly. And so you're not alone. Everybody makes, okay? So first of all, forgive yourself, give yourself grace about that. And the first thing I'm going to ask you, that all I want you to focus on is, what did you learn? Not that you made the mistake, but what did you learn that you're not going to do this time?
I think probably the biggest thing is that when I saw it was declining and I saw that it was time to let him go, I just kept him on and tried to see, you know, how could I make it work? And I knew he wasn't going there. I knew he wasn't getting the job done. It was supposed to be 2 months. And then after 3 months, and then COVID hit, and then really he didn't do anything. And I should have just fired him and just
What
found
made you
someone
stop?
else.
What made you not fire him? 2 questions, actually. How far in were you? How many months in when you knew I need to fire Adrian? Second question, 8 months in? Why did you not fire Adrian? What was your gut telling you?
I didn't want him to put a lien on it until, you know, till him to want the money and all that kind of stuff.
Let me ask you this. Did you have a good idea throughout the whole project what phases of the project he was in during the work and the milestones that he was hitting?
Not really, because he was lying to me.
Okay.
He was saying to me that things are going to get done in a few days, and they weren't done at all. And even when he told me that an inspector can come out, it still wasn't done. And then he's like, "Oh, no, but it's almost done in a few days." So he was, you know, bullshitting me.
Let's just say I'm your new contractor right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in Florida at your motel, and the scope of work, I gave it to you, okay? And it's me, and I start work tomorrow. I start work on Tuesday, and you know exactly what I'm supposed to be working on. When are you gonna talk to me? When do I need to tell you my report out?
I mean, what you were saying before earlier today, that once a week we have a conversation and see where we are at, where we're at, what we're doing next week. That's a really good idea.
Let's just say that you told me we're going to meet every Sunday, Jen. And I say, cool. Yeah, we'll meet every Sunday, right? So now it's Sunday. And I'm talking to you and I'm like, okay, Patel, you know, you can send the inspector out. Bathroom's just about done, blah, blah, blah. So you're going to listen to key fucking words. Key words. Just about done. Almost done. Nearly there. Like, you want definitive, concrete of, okay, Jen, you said it's just about done. What does that mean specifically? What is not done? What still needs to be done? And then when I give you that list, I'm okay, you know, it's actually just the trim, the base, painting it, putting on the towel rack and the toilet paper holder. Like, that's it, Patel. And then we're done. And then the next question is, when will those be done? How long does it take? When will those be done? And then I tell you, oh shit, I should have it done by Monday. Okay, cool. Now, when I tell you that, when will you schedule the inspector to actually go out there? Monday?
Tuesday?
Or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Or Wednesday, okay. Right? So I would schedule the inspector for Wednesday. Tell me that you scheduled it for Tuesday and that you need a Marco Polo video to verify and validate the work, and that the inspector is coming out there on Tuesday. And then I'll be like, oh shit, okay, the inspector's coming on Tuesday. Then when Tuesday comes, right, it's like, okay, the hiccup is that the contractor can't come until tomorrow, or the inspector can't come until tomorrow. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. Well, that gives him a little bit of fluff time, gives me a little bit of fluff time to make sure I got my ducks in a row. And it also gives you fluff time to make sure the work was done before you send somebody else out there that you're paying to inspect it. So that's a trick that I would do. It's kind of like being married to Stacy and she's late for everything. So I tell her shit starts at 10 a.m. when it really starts at 1, and then we're on time.
Stacy told me a really smart thing with it also. She's like, next time because he would do that every time. He would tell me, then I'd schedule it a few days out, and then it still wouldn't be ready. And then he would tell me, no, it's going to be ready in 2-3 days. So she was like, you have.
Oh shit, you muted.
To charge him for the inspector when it's still not ready, because it's like.
So is that in your contract? Is that in your contract with the GC?
I don't remember.
It should be now.
Yeah.
It should be now. When you go into this motel deal, everything you learn from Adrian is this. Look, this is my business model. My business model is that we're going to sit down, go over the scope of work. You're going to tell me the milestones that are going to be completed, whether it's demo, and then we're doing kitchen. No, well, I usually don't do kitchen. You don't do that till last. But then we're doing, bedrooms. We're doing this. We're doing that. What are those milestones? And then I want you to know, Mrs. Conkey, Jennifer, even though it says Stacy, that I am going to be coming and sending an inspector out there to you to inspect this stuff, right? And then when I send that inspector to you, the work needs to be done. Because if it's not done and I had to pay for that inspector to come back, contractually now he has to pay for it, the inspector. You need that in the contract. Just make sure that's baked in. All of the parameters of the relationship and the expectations that you want, just make sure it's in that contract with them, and the meeting frequency and what you're going to need, and that there will be an inspector that goes out there and inspects it, but that you also need completed Marco Polo videos at the completion of each of those milestones before you send any money. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if you put those boundaries in place, Patel, you will feel way more confident and forgive yourself for what happened with Adrian, and set it up this time knowing these are the things that I got to do.
Yeah. I think once I sell the place, I'll forgive myself a little bit.
Hell yeah. It's like when you push out a kid and it hurt. What do? You go make another one, and you push it out and it hurts. And then you're like, you forget that. And then what do you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with real estate. As soon as you put a headache property to bed, it's like, oh man, that sucks. Let's do another one. You know? It's like, and you're just begging for an epidural shot. But I think that if you put those things in place, Patel, it'll make you feel way more comfortable, okay?
Yeah, I'll look over the contract and change those things.
Okay. And I'm going to start making our family planned trip to go out there.
Okay, good. That sounds good.
We already missed
So
it.
we both have a plan.
Yes, we have plans. All right. Who else? Who else has questions? Are you feeling okay, Patel? Yeah? Yes? All right. Who else needs help? Anyone? Laurel? Come on, Laurel. She's like, yes. Me. There you go. How are you?
I had to find the mute button. I'm on a different device than usual.
Oh, that's okay.
So
what's going on with you? How have you been?
And I don't know where the camera is.
Well, that's
so
okay.
I'm not sure where
I don't know where the camera is either. I don't look at the camera. I look at where your face is on my screen. Is that weird? Like, does that make you guys feel weird? That I'm not looking at you. I'm just looking at your picture. Can you even tell? Okay. I'm trying to get the pictures of everybody here right now so I know who to send that link out to. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. How are you, Laurel?
Okay. So I have discovered that I have a very big problem with following through on the things that I want to do. Like, I know I want to do them, but I have a big problem with actually following through on it.
Right on. So you're like most of the other Americans in the world. That's cool. So if I had to ask you, have you ever heard me talk about how there's 3 different types of energy in the world?
Yeah.
Creation energy, transformation energy, and completion energy?
Yeah.
Which one are you best at?
Which one am I best at?
Yeah. Starting stuff, fixing stuff, like fixing and changing stuff, or finishing stuff. Which one's your best?
Oh, I'm best at starting things.
Okay. And then what are you worst at?
Completing things.
Completing. How do you know when it's time to not do the thing you're supposed to do?
How do I know when it's time to... I don't understand the question.
You're not supposed to. If you did understand it, what would it be?
Okay. I find ways to distract myself.
Yes. Beautiful. With what?
Video games or Facebook, or I read a book, but not what I'm supposed to be reading. Just, a book. Like I find something to entertain myself with. It's not like I go and I just find something else to do. I mean, I'll even do something that I hate, like a load of laundry. I'll go do a load of laundry to avoid the things that I know I want to do.
What is the thing that you're avoiding? Okay, real quick.
What is
it that you're like, oh no, fuck that, I'm gonna go do some laundry? What is it?
Writing down things, like really getting into introspective things and writing things down in my journal.
Writing things down in your journal about what topic?
Well, I've been on a self-discovery, trying to find things, figuring things out. But when I read the books or I listen to anything, it says, now go take 5 minutes and write this down. And I go, no thanks. And
What
then,
types
you
of
know,
things?
and then, so I don't follow through on, you know, the improvements that I know that I want to make in my life.
Okay. What do you, like what Cassandra, bye-bye. It was nice having you here too. Thank you. What are the things, the topics, Laurel, that when you see them, that they tell you to go write down that you're like, no, 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 I don't want to do that? Is there a theme in the topics?
Mostly it's things about like breaking through. I'm trying to keep this out of the shadow so you can actually see my face.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's mostly like actually doing anything where I would break through something. Like when you sent me those stuff to meditate, I did it for, you know, a few days, and then when I picked it back up again, I did it for like 2 more days, and then I stopped doing it. It was just like there's something at the end of that I want, but I won't do it all the way.
I think you're still not connected to your why strong enough to do the work.
Okay.
So do you know why you want to do all these things?
Because I want to be a better person.
In what way?
Let's see, in what way don't I want to be a better person? I feel like I am not accomplishing anything. Like
In
I'm
what-
never.
In
never
what area
finishing
of
anything.
what area of life, Laurel?
I'm trying to just pick one. Probably the thing that springs to mind is like I keep saying that I'm going to, you know, contact realtors, and then I distract myself from it, and I don't do it.
Why?
Because I know how to distract myself, and, you know, even though I've contacted a few realtors, I'm still not confident in that.
Okay.
And there's part of me that still doesn't believe the money will fall into place.
Ooh.
Like, I don't have the money.
Okay.
I know I don't have the money. And so there's part of me that's just like afraid to keep going without knowing where the money's coming from.
Okay. So what are the two lists that you probably need to build first?
2 lists that I need to build first.
Yeah. Your buyer's list and private money
Buyer's list.
and private money list.
Yes.
And what is it going to take to build those lists?
Contacts.
So what must you do that you don't want to do?
Make the contacts.
Why don't you want to do it?
I'm afraid of looking stupid.
For who?
I'm afraid of looking stupid for who?
Yeah.
For my husband.
Is he going to be in the room when you're on the phone?
No.
Is he going to be a part of the conversation? Are you going to record it and play it back for him later?
No.
I'm doing these questions because it's called higher levels of logic and therapy. Okay, so I'm not trying to be an asshole. It just happens to be that I am an asshole when I'm asking them. So if
Okay.
he's not going to be there and you're not going to play it for him, what's the risk of trying? Who's the real person you think that you're gonna look stupid in front of?
The people I'm calling.
Okay. When you think that you are gonna be looking stupid, like, do you ever hear a voice like internally saying, "Oh God, that was stupid. Why did I do that?" Do you ever hear that?
Yes.
Is there a familiar voice that says it, or is it your own voice?
50-50. It's either my voice or my dad's voice.
Ah, okay. In what ways do you need your father's validation?
I never got validation. Sorry.
No, it's okay. In what ways do you already have validation from your parents, though?
I don't.
Okay. Where else can you get validation?
I don't know.
How do you feel about giving yourself validation?
I feel silly when I do it.
Why?
Because I'd be talking to myself.
Girl, I do that every day. Everyone does. Why don't you want to talk to yourself? Who's going to hear you talking to yourself?
Possibly my husband, maybe my dogs.
You should just talk to your dogs. Pretend you're talking to your dogs.
Yeah, I like my dogs.
Yeah. I think that what you need is you need to connect with why you want to be doing this in the first place. And the hard work is validating yourself and not worrying about what everybody else says or what everybody else is thinking. And that's the hardest work, right? And Laurel, you're not alone. The whole world has an inner monologue that talks to themselves and talks badly to themselves. And 9 times out of 10, it's in the tone of a parent's voice because of what you were wired to do and how you were wired to respond during upbringing. And you know what? Parents they're doing the best they can with the resources they have available. And over time, parenting has changed quite a bit. You know, I came from the school of, do you want something to cry about? I never understood that fucking question. I'm already crying. What else do I need? I'm already crying, right? Or, hey, you know, kids need to be seen and not heard, or money doesn't grow on trees. I mean, there's so many things that our parents were told by their parents that they believe, and therefore because they believe it, that's how they operate. And unfortunately, it can impact our confidence in ourselves. It can impact our ability to get through something and to break through. And I'll tell you, you have a part of you that wants to do this. And you have a part of you that's like, there's no way I can. And you have these conflicting parts. And what's happening when you're going in through these breakthrough sessions and you're about to journal and you're about to break through, the closer you get to breaking through one of those bad parts, the unwanted part, the more resistance you're going to find yourself putting up and pushing back and not wanting to do it and wanting to distract yourself. And it means that that part is just about to give. So you just have to do it. You have to like push through that. You have to do the journaling. You have to have the epiphanies, and you have to ask yourself, this is all that ever matters, because it's not about failure. All that ever matters is, what did you learn and what are you going to do differently next time? So when you make these calls, You are not, I'm going to tell you right now, and I give you full fucking permission, you are not going to nail it. You won't. You won't. Something will go wrong, and a lot of things will go right. And when you hang up the phone, all you do is write down, what did I do well? What would I do differently next time to make it better? I don't ever want you thinking about, shit, I messed this up. I messed this up. I did this wrong. No, instead, what went well? What do I need to do differently next time? That's the way you got to start talking to yourself. And you don't need validation from anybody else. If you start living and thinking and talking to yourself in that way, you will start gaining the confidence that you need. It won't matter what your dogs think. It won't matter what your husband thinks. Your dad's voice will start to quiet, and you will be assuming the power up here. It's the most precious piece of real estate in the world is your brain. It's your mind. And when you start looking at it from, it's not nervousness about looking stupid, because that's a form of fear of failure. I'm going to look stupid. That's a fear of failing. And it usually does stem from upbringing, a hard upbringing, one that the expectations were probably beyond realistic. So that's why you think, oh, I'll never make it happen. Oh, the cash will never come. The money will not be there. It's probably because you lived from a long childhood where the goalpost just kept shifting and moving away the closer you got to it. So it felt impossible. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to do these things. And that's just not true. You know, sometimes when we're hard on our kids and give them these high ass expectations that they can't rise to, it will psychologically beat them down and not want to try anymore. You ever hear that story about, I hate to say this, but, and this is not by any means a bad joke, but like you might be an elephant. Elephants, like a circus elephant, the way that they train them is they tie their foot to a stake as a young elephant. And that elephant tugs and pulls, and over time, it's like trying to get away from that rope, trying to get its foot loose. And during that journey of doing that, it starts to give the fuck up, because it's like, I'm not going anywhere. And by the time that elephant is 1 or 2 or 3, it stops trying, and they can take it off of that stake, take the rope off their leg, and it won't go anywhere. Because it just learned that no matter how hard I try, I'm not going to get anywhere, which is where you're at right now. You're on the, even if I get there, the money's not going to come, right? But if that little elephant just knew the rope is gone, possibilities are endless, and it's just up to you, little elephant, he'd probably leave the fucking tent, and the whole crowd would be like, oh no, come back, Dumbo. You know, so you just got to figure out in what ways do I have the power to make a different decision? And the first one is make the calls. Make the calls, do them as imperfectly as they're going to happen. And then write down, what did I do right though? And what will I do differently next time? And that's all you can do, okay? But you've got to start there. And my second assignment for you, Laurel, is you've got to find out and figure out, why do I want to do this? I got to get more associated to that why. So that you got to go burn those ships if that's what you need to get motivated, right?
Okay.
But not in a harsh, like, what's wrong with you way, all right? Christy says, my mom always said it's okay to talk to yourself, just don't answer yourself. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Right on, guys. Well, I only have a couple more minutes. I don't know if anybody else wants to talk, but Laurel, those are my assignments for you, and I will definitely see you next month. I know I'll probably see you on the Tuesday calls anyways, though.
Yep.
Anybody else out there need any help or a warm hug? Natasha's giving them out. All right, guys. Thank you for spending Labor Day with me. It's been rad. I'll see you guys next month, okay? Bye.
If you're interested in learning more about real estate investing or investing in passive income, multifamily, or apartments, feel free to join our free private Facebook group. If you know that you want help, you know you want someone to hold your hand, and you know you want to be part of a mastermind and have coaching, all that you need to do is text the word freedom to 619-373-8461. So if you just want to see, like, what is that about and how can I speed up my results and do it more safely, I'd be happy to chat with you about what your options are and see what we can do to help you along your